Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. And welcome to a new episode of the Creative Brew, giving you insights on our creative journey. Today, this episode is brought to you by a few great sponsors of mine. First of all, my home away from home, Panels, Comics, and Coffee Bar here in beautiful Oceanside, California, right off of Mission Avenue. If you're a comic junkie like me and you love coffee, this is probably the perfect mix for you. They have some of the hottest graphic novels and comics out right now. So let me know what you're reading. I'm very interested, but hey, they also have an assortment of merchandise, toys, clothes, as well as back issue vintage comics right now. So I'm sure you'll probably find some hidden gems in there if you're an avid comic collector. So if you mention the Creative Brew, you'll get 10% off of your next purchase, and you can check them out at Panels Coffee or go to panelscoffee.com. Another partner of mine is Elevate Coffee Trading, and if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventures, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. And their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the U.S., and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education in children in coffee-producing companies such as Guatemala and in areas of need in the United States. Use promo code ELEVATE21, that's part of the Creative Brew, and you'll get a discount on your next order when you purchase some coffee online on Elevate Coffee Trading. So check them out, check out their mission, check out their story at Elevate Coffee Trading, or you can visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com. Another partner of mine is Astropad, and if you are a digital creator like me, I'm usually creating logos, illustrations, all kinds of things. Astropad is definitely the right tool for you. If you're an iPad or a Windows user, you have a graphics tablet, Astropad actually turns your graphics tablet into another professional graphics tablet. So essentially, you can work with Adobe Photoshop, InDesign, all your favorite programs that's on your desktop. You can work right from your iPad Pro or your Windows graphics tablet. So it's been a great tool for me, great asset. I can literally work from anywhere. So the Wi-Fi capabilities as well as USB connection is seamless. And like I said, it helps me, especially when I'm doing fine-tuning on a lot of my work, especially in Photoshop. If I'm doing any kind of retouching or anything like that, doing logos, Astropad actually helps me to be able to get all those fine-tuning. And it's, like I said, it's been a great asset for my digital workflow. So they actually have a lot of great discounts going on if you're a student or educator right now. So I would advise you check them out and explore it. So you can go to astropad.com and check them out on Astropad on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. And another partner of mine is Cobo Pod, which is where we're at today. Cobo Pod is a boutique video and audio production studio in Oceanside. So if you're a podcaster, vlogger, content creator, honestly, you should really think about swinging by here. I get comments all the time on the production quality of each episode that I do here, and it makes me look bigger than what I actually am. So, like I said, if anyone is thinking about producing a new podcast, even if you're thinking about it, come by, check it out. At least look online at cobopod.org and see all the different packages they have. And I guarantee you, this is really the studio for you. So they have a sound coach as well as a photographer on staff. So like I said, you can use the photos for your social media, for all kinds of your content. And then you got a sound coach. So you don't, like I said, literally, generally when I'm recording here, all I have to do is come in here, sit down, and I know that everything's going to be fine. I know everything's going to be high quality. It's 4K video, excellent audio. And like I said, it's definitely helped up-level my podcast and my show. So if you're interested in looking to start your new podcast or sort of figuring out, okay, how do I even get one started? What do I need to do? Don't worry about all that. Come over here to Cobo Pod, book a session today at cobopod.org. So today, this is an episode. Like I said, I find myself sort of getting more musicians on the show, and one in specifically, I remember. And before we do introductions, I remember my wife. She was the one that actually introduced me to this musician, and I caught actually a clip of it. I was actually in wrestling practice, and I was coaching, and my wife had sent me a clip of of this band, and called the Swinging Johnsons, and heard this guy Sodie singing, and when I heard it, I was like, man, this guy has got he's got a voice on him. And so after that, I mean, as soon as it took me probably 1 minute to say, oh, this man has a voice. And so I definitely, became great fans. Now sort of creating a, relationship with Sodie, and now we got him on here. So it's pretty cool. And like I said, definitely in gratitude for bringing this man on, this talented individual. Like I said, one half of the band, the Swinging Johnsons, and so yeah, I'll let him sort of tell his story, and we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, man. Thanks for the hype intro. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on the podcast. Yeah, my name's Sodie. I grew up in Carlsbad. I was actually born in Nashville, Tennessee, and lived for a short time in New Jersey. But ever since I can remember, I'm a Carlsbad kid, and we have a family band. My partner, the other half of the Swinging Johnsons, his name is Wayne Johnson, and I always introduce him as Grammy Award-winning guitarist Wayne Johnson. That is not a lie. He is a Grammy Award-winning guitarist. Phenomenal guy. He's played with some incredible groups, and he's done some amazing stuff on his own. He studied at Berkeley in Boston, which is like, the music school.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the family band started with, and this is one of my I'm already getting on a long rant here. My mom dated Wayne in 1984, 10 years before I was born. I think it was like 83, 84. They split up. And in 92, my mom met my dad at the Jolly Roger in Oceanside Harbor.
Yeah.
My dad was playing music. My mom went in there with my dad's cousin, who she worked with at Jenny Craig. My dad's cousin was like, you got to come see my cousin. He's in whatever. So my mom clearly has, she likes musicians. She went and saw my dad there, and she fell in love with him. And apparently it was mutual because he was married at the time. And he ended up divorcing his wife, marrying my mom. They had me in Nashville. They moved to Nashville because my dad was pursuing a country career.
Yeah.
And then shortly after, they moved back here. And shortly after that, they split up. So my mom both my parents were single for a very short time before they got back with their respective exes. So my dad remarried the woman he was married to when he met my mom, who's my stepmom. And my mom got back together with Wayne, ended up marrying Wayne when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a rough patch with my dad, like just accepting the new situation. But for the most part, he and Wayne have always gotten along extremely well, and it only took a short time for him to realize Wayne's such a good guy and to accept it. And so they became like brothers almost in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually formed a trio called Treja Vu. It was my mom and her 2 husbands. That was always the joke, but it's kind of the case. And so I grew up, they would play at the Monterey Bay Canneries in Oceanside Harbor, which is the broiler, the Oceanside broiler now, but used to be called Monterey Bay Cannery. So I'd see them play there. I'd go watch my dad play solo all the time, and they played at a couple places. But a lot of the music we play is from 60s and 70s, maybe early 80s. And I learned all those songs from watching them and their set. So when Wayne and I first started, it's like, well, what do we play? All the songs that I knew were the covers that my parents did growing up. So I hadn't actually heard a lot of the records until recently. The past couple of years, I started actually listening to that music. But when I started playing, it was just kind of, I didn't really think it was going to be a full-time thing. I am still deeply in love with hip-hop, and I really was at the time. And I was like, I don't want to play guitar and sing. I like hip-hop. I want to produce. I want to write. I want to rap. But then it just organically grew into this very fun, positive family kind of situation that we now have a lot of people, at least a lot for us, that come out to see us and support us and have a great time. And it's the way I pay the bills now. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, the Swingin' Johnsons, I always say my mom's the best A&R in the world because she put the band together, whether she knew it or not, from marrying different musicians.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting. I don't.
Have you been there on a night where my dad comes in?
Oh yeah. I love his Johnny
Cash.
Yeah, Johnny Cash.
He's got me and Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And so he's had a really gnarly past 10 years, I'd say. Just health stuff and but Johnny Cash, like that high register stuff is I mean, it's difficult for anybody to sing, certain songs. Even like some nights I sing songs, I'm like, I could kill the song the night before.
Yeah.
And then come out and sing that, don't hit that note. And then I'm mad about it for like 5 days. So, but he just took a lot of time off and he's, kind of redeveloping his voice and stuff. So
that's good.
But we still occasionally get all four of us up to sing like Hotel California. And my dad was Johnny Cash. My mom will do some Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. And it's very much a family band, but Wayne and I are the consistent group.
Yeah. So with Wayne, because I know I've met him before, and I mean probably one of the best guitarists I've ever heard. How old is he? I mean, he just seems very energetic for.
Right. He will be 70 in November.
Wow.
I know. Crazy. He's always been a very it's been important to him to be healthy. Yeah. Diet, exercise.
Yep.
Knock on wood. So he definitely has kept some youth. Yeah. And music definitely keeps him young too. He'll play. I mean, it's not abnormal for him to play 8 hours a day when we're not working.
Wow.
Just because he watches sports and he'll play guitar. Or go sit in the backyard, get some sun, he'll play guitar. Go to the bathroom, play guitar. You just always hear Wayne's guitar. My whole childhood was waking up in the morning, Wayne's playing guitar. Yeah. So yeah, he definitely does not look his age in a good way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know I'm a big advocate for for health and just even with all the things that I do, I have to be able to have the energy to be able to from doing design work to doing the podcast to coaching to working out. I mean, it's just it's one of those where I wholly believe if you can keep yourself in a good health and and your wellness is great, then you can do what you want to do for for years.
Definitely.
Guys, like, man, he's real energetic. It's just real. I mean, he's already sort of laid back anyway, but
he's a very laid back guy.
Yeah,
but when it comes to passionately shredding, that's where it comes out. He gets a lot of that out that way. So you coach wrestling. Where do you coach wrestling? I
actually coach wrestling. I help with a lot of MMA fighters. So I actually coach at the compound. Little shameless plug there. The compound Oceanside here in Oceanside. And I usually coach every Wednesday. And it sort of helps me, keeps me young. And so a lot of those guys are like 10 years younger than me. So I'm usually working out with them, training them, and then I usually give them some little inspirational words afterwards.
Nice.
And so it's something where I'm real big on sort of feeding the mind and the spirit too. I think if that happens, then I think your body will follow with everything. But sometimes a lot of those guys, like I said, they're young, and I have to be patient with them. But a lot of them, try to work out, and but their mind isn't where it needs to be at.
Yeah.
To really sort of be where they what they could become. So it sometimes it takes time. Some people get it, some people don't.
Yeah.
But as a coach, you sort of learn to be patient with it.
Totally.
But that's one of the many things that I do.
I think that's rad, man. I think for me, in working out or singing or whatever you're doing, the difference between a good day and a bad day is your mental state and how you're thinking about it. And you can change a bad day into a good day and vice versa. But for me, like, I was lifting a bunch before I got COVID in December. So I was like, I didn't really see anybody or do anything for about a month. I was lifting all of 2020 pretty much, and everything shut down. We made it work in my friend's backyard, but I was squatting before the shutdown. I was squatting 365. That was like my highest. I think I got 5 reps, and then kind of tapered down as we went to my friend's backyard. We didn't have as much weight. We don't even have 365 pounds to put on the bar, so kind of went down, and then I got sick and stopped lifting. So I got kind of down and depressed, and I'm not working out, blah, blah, blah. Well, I just squatted for the first time the other day, and I was excited to lift. I was mental. I was like, let's go. And I hit 310 times for my first day back, which it's about where I was at my best. And if I try to do that on a bad day, there's no shot. It's completely like how you go into the workout, how you approach stuff. And I picked it up. I said, oh, this is light. I got this. I was going for 5 reps. I was like, nah, I'm doing 10. And I did it. So I think that's rad.
So even with your schedule now, is there, I mean, do you have like a certain, like a morning routine that you do, or, I mean, just to get yourself in the right headspace? Cause it could be easy to, I mean, even for any creator or musician or artist, I mean, to, say you happen to have a bad night, or you have a, bad note, and you sort of think about it and dwell on it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you, I didn't know what you do to sort of reset and get everything going for that next day.
My morning routine is sleep.
Yeah.
I do not have a morning routine. It's actually bad. I mean, I used to wake up actually late, like real late.
Yeah.
These days I wake up at like 8 or 9. So it's not too late. And I play till, 10, then we get off, tear down. By the time I go to bed, it's 1 usually. Yeah. So I'm not even getting 8 hours of sleep most of the time. But coffee in the morning is crucial for me, which I didn't get today because I'm on that stupid cleanse, which I love so much. I don't have much of I'm a very, I do well with a schedule, and I have no schedule besides we have to play music at this restaurant at this time on this day, and that's my schedule. I was boxing before I got sick too.
Yeah.
So I had a noon class, and that would help. I'd get up, do my thing, and then every day, pretty much 5 days a week, at noon, I'm going to the boxing gym.
Yeah.
But I saw one of your questions is like advice on like creativity and like how to. Now my only advice is I just want advice. I don't have any to give. So if you guys are listening and you have advice on how I can be more productive and creative, just find me on Instagram and let me know. I do not have, I don't have a routine, bro. I'm actually, it's not that I'm lazy. I just have a lot. Like it's like a mental battle almost every day to get back to a positive mindset.
Yeah.
I'm organically kind of down.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning, it's like stress. Like, oh, I got to do this later. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, boy, I fucked up this the other week. Sorry if I can't. Can I cuss?
Oh, you can cuss a little bit. That's
okay.
fine.
Okay. Sorry about that. I messed that up the other week, blah, blah. And if I don't check it and get out of it, it's a rough day. So
I completely understand that.
Yeah. No morning routine, man. I need to get one. That's partly what this cleanse is for, though. It's not just to lose weight and to get my organs healthy, but it's like resetting your lifestyle.
Yep.
And ideally, I'd like to be doing meditation, stretching in the morning before I have my coffee or tea, and a workout.
Yeah.
That I feel like when you start the day with a workout, the earlier it is, like the better, because it tends to last through the day.
Yeah.
If you do a workout at 5 p.m., that's cool too, but like you don't have the momentum going through the beginning of the day like you do when you get up and work out. And everyone's schedule is different, but I have wide open mornings. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know personally for me, I do a lot of meditation, a lot of writing, always working out. I'm doing better now. Because I've been so used. I wrestled in college, and I was sort of used to working out 2 or 3 times a day plus school, and it was sort of odd for me. Like if I didn't work out twice a day, that wasn't normal for me. And I used to get mad at myself, like, I was like, I got to get this workout in. And now I'm starting to, I still work out every day, but it's like now if I miss a day or something like that, I don't, beat myself up like I used to. But yeah, I even setting the morning up, that's something I'm pretty consistent on, and I've sort of noticed, I've done it. I sort of set up my morning for, doing the meditation, working out. I've done that, and then I've experimented before with not doing that, and I could tell right off the bat that I'm already sort of, not necessarily cranky, but there's things that sort of hit me on a daily basis that normally I would respond in a different way. And when I'm just already in reaction mode already, then, all those cortisol levels start spiking up. Everything is high alert. And so I think, sort of creating that space for yourself and just sort of, getting quiet, getting silent, sort of, figuring out, really figuring out your own answers. A lot of times I ask myself questions so I can figure out the answers for myself. And, I think once I get that, get my body and my mind in the right headspace, even, going into the day, whatever happens, I know that I can, at least I got that done. So, even if something happens and, I don't finish up the projects or things that happen like I wanted, at least I know I done that. And I sort of invested that part of me during that day to say, hey, look, you took this, 15, 20, 30 minutes. A lot of times I try to keep it within about 45 minutes to an hour. And, you took time for yourself to, just, get yourself better.
Yep.
And I think that, if you can do that, then I think you sort of set your day up. But yeah, it can be, sometimes it can be a little hard. I mean, things happen. You things get hectic. You just sort of get up and you gotta go. But heck, sometimes sleep might be the best cure for everything.
There are some days where I do need just to take a nap. Like I sleep 8 hours. I'm like, dude, I need a nap, and I wake up feeling good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not the answer. Sometimes you sleep for the wrong reasons and you're avoiding stuff. But I feel like, brain chemistry is what makes our personality up for the most part. We have our spirit and our soul, and like that's arguable. But the fact is, we have brain chemistry, and when certain chemicals are released in your brain, it affects your mood in this way or this way. And working out is not only good for that, but it's good for like you said, the mentality of like, I did something productive today, I did something healthy today. It's like a positive thing. And on top of the brain chemistry, because cortisol, I feel like you don't get as stressed out if you lift hard. You put yourself in that kind of uncomfortable position on purpose. Because I've lifted on and off my whole life pretty much, because I played sports or worked out or whatever, and like rarely when you're in that situation are you having a good time. If you're really getting a good workout, it's not the best feeling. It hurts. Like you've got to push past some pain, and that brings out mental stuff. Like, you're thinking, I'll be thinking about stuff during a workout that gets me through the workout, but I'm thinking about stuff unrelated to the workout. Like the girl that broke up with me 6 months ago, and I'm like lifting and I'm in pain, and all of a sudden the pain from the breakup starts coming out, and then I'm like, I'm gonna use that to push this up. So
yeah, you know what, you just brought up an interesting point. I had someone ask me one time, it's like, how do you get motivated to work out? I mean, I've literally been working out probably more than half my life, and it gets to where sometimes I do get complacent with certain things, but used to, I would use something to sort of use that sort of rage or anger to sort of fuel me for the workouts. But now I sort of, with that sort of going, I really don't have anything as far as I do got goals and things that I'm striving for, but as far as for me, me using hurt or anger to sort of fuel it, I really don't do that anymore. So I sort of find myself like, how do I motivate? How do I find little things to motivate myself?
Well, yeah, there's the pain, there's the pain motivation, then there's like the goal motivation too. Like that's probably healthier. But I mean, boxing, hitting the bag, like if you're mad about something, you go hit the bag for an hour, you're probably not going to walk out as mad about that.
Yep.
Like, even if you're not thinking about it, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But and then pre-workout. So I don't love taking supplements. Like there's some like protein, like all that stuff. But I mean, like, there's a difference between like a natural stimulant, like a little thing to get you going, and then like the pre-workouts that like the musclehead dudes at the gym are taking. They don't even put it in water. They just pour it in their mouth and take a sip of water with the powder. I have a buddy that he literally they had to remake his pre-workout, I think, at least once a year, because the FDA, they were putting like chemicals in it that were like loophole chemicals. So they were like analogs to illegal chemicals, but there was something slightly different about the molecule that allowed it to be in there without them getting in trouble. Then the FDA updates their regulations like, okay, we've identified this, it's not legal. So they had to tweak the molecule a little bit. And my friend just keeps buying it and taking it, and I took some of that. I had a killer workout, but I took it for 3 days straight, and it had L-Dopa in it. And L-Dopa is the precursor to dopamine. So like, among other things in it, like it's technically an amphetamine stimulant, which I'm not down for. But I just wanted to try it to get into some workouts, and he is a big old dude, so I'm like, hey, he's taking it, whatever. But it has L-Dopa in it, so like you're in the workout and you get this euphoria because it basically makes your brain create dopamine.
Yeah.
And then after 3 days, I started noticing I was just having mood swings, and I was just getting pissed about stuff that I shouldn't be getting pissed. I'm like, why am I so moody right now? I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm taking powdered L-dopamine to work out multiple days in a row. That's probably not good. So there are really good pre-workouts out there, and that's something that helps me is like if I take something, it just kind of like gets the blood going, gets your mind going. You put in work for an hour, hour and a half, and then it starts to fade off. You finish your workout and you go about your day. But as far as like mental, it's so hard for me to be mentally motivated to like lift. I mean, besides the fact that I've gained a bunch of weight back that I lost before, and I don't look my best right now. It's just tough, man. I have like like I feel like a lot of artists go through. It's like you're manic when you're creative, and I'm like, I'm not, extremely manic depressed, but I'll have moments where I'm motivated and excited and like hopeful for my future, and then I have moments where I'm just like, what's the point of getting up and making this right now? Like, why would I go write a song right now? Like, what's going to come of it? And that's a really bad space to get into. So the real answer is sometimes you're not going to be motivated. You just have to do it.
Yep. And I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, there's a lot of times where I just honestly, I could probably just go back to bed and go, lay down. But, my body, I've gotten used to, you get up and, go do your routine, get up, go work out, go walk. I mean, heck, sometimes my joints isn't the best. I do pretty good to, stay loose and stay flexible. But heck, sometimes it's just like, I was like, maybe I just need to take a walk. At least get yourself moving. And that's for anyone that's listening, or will listen to this is, and I think we've talked about this. Actually, I talked about this with a previous musician that was on here a couple of weeks ago. It's just learning how to be consistent, and you're not gonna feel like it every day, and it's very easy to feel like it when you're a superstar or you just on top of the world. But when you're at a very low point and you can still get up and just move forward, that is the most powerful thing that you could do. You're able to do that, you can take on anything.
That's what successful people do.
Yeah. Yep.
They can do it on days where they don't feel like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll go back. We'll swing back around because we can probably talk about that for another hour.
Oh yeah.
So with you, you've been pretty fortunate to sort of be in a musical household. I'm sure there's pros and cons to that. What for you has it been easier or has it been harder in certain situations as far as being around a musically inclined family?
Mostly it's made it, I mean, I think that's why I'm musical, but I would say like a not so great mentality that I had in the past was like, well, like you said, I agree with you. Wayne's one of the best guitar players I've ever heard by far.
Mm-hmm.
Just incredible. So my thing in my head is like, well, if your dad's Picasso, why would you learn how to paint? You already got Picasso in the house. So I never really worked on my lead guitar too much, and like always kind of compare. Well, I'll never be as good as Wayne, even if I practice every day at soloing and shredding and all that good stuff. But the mentality I switched to recently is, if Picasso's your dad, you should probably learn how to paint from Picasso, and that's how I hold Wayne up on that level. So that's why I use the Picasso reference. But but everything else is like, I mean, I don't think I would have gotten into this kind of music if I didn't have my guitar and singing musical family. I think just hip hop is part of my soul. I love lyricism, but your family created you, your genetics created you, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, I don't know, if I didn't have a musical family, I don't even know if I'd be doing music. I don't know if I'd be me.
Yeah.
But that's just been my life, and my mom does other stuff, and well, that's about it. Wayne and my dad have been full-time musicians, so it's always been a super big part of my life. Even when I wasn't, there was a long period of time where I wasn't doing anything musical, just playing football and boxing, and I actually wanted to avoid it because I've seen the downsides of being a musician.
Yeah.
Wayne is so accomplished, and yet, you know, he's a jazz musician. He's not like playing pop music. He could have easily gone on tour with the band, but that's not what he wanted to do. He liked the Manhattan Transfer, but I mean, like a band that's selling out fat arenas, he could have had that if he wanted it. He just didn't want it. So it's not like he's, you know, this millionaire rock star. He's just very good at what he does, and there's that niche group of people that love his music and appreciate it. And then my dad has done the local scene since the early 90s, and essentially exactly what I'm doing. And I've seen the good and the bad, and there's been some tough times with that. So a lot of me resisted being what I'm on paper supposed to be. And I just couldn't avoid it anymore. It just happened. So I accepted it finally. And it's been the best, most wholesome part of my life. Is I know a lot of people my age whose family live in the area. They live in the area, but they just don't spend that much time with them. And that's for a lot of reasons. Not everyone has a close family. And I just know a lot of people that really are successful, and they really work, and they don't make time for family and don't make time for important people. They get to a certain point when they're like, okay, yeah, I accomplished all this, but you can't get that time back. So I kind of see it as doing both at the same time. Like I really am putting in these shows. Like we don't sit home and practice much unless we're doing new songs. But these gigs are always different. It could be the same restaurant every week, and it's a different experience every week. You know, not thinking you don't sound that great that night. Not feeling good. I've performed sick. I've performed hungover. I've performed, you know. So you just learn how to be consistent when you don't feel consistent. And I get to do all that and work on myself with my family being there. My mom comes to a lot of the shows. My dad will come to the shows. And like, you know, before COVID, my stepmom would come a lot. She's a little more concerned and conservative about COVID. So we haven't seen her too much, but I wouldn't trade it. I definitely wouldn't change the fact that I get to work on my career and myself with the people that care about me the most and who I care about the most. Family, and I don't have any siblings. I have a few close friends that I consider that they're the closest thing I have to brothers. So spending time with them and my parents is very high on my priority list, because I do want to be successful, but I also don't want to look back and go, man, so-and-so's gone. I could have spent more time with them. Because you can't replace that.
You sure can't.
So
time rules all. I know that from just other musicians I've talked to. I mean, I know everybody's had their sort of just horror, you know, stories, and you know, some great times, and then you know, some times where like, man, should I really be in this industry right now? So you know, you've been one of the fortunate, because I really feel like, you know, I'm under the theory that you can grow anywhere that you're planted. And what I mean by that is that, you know, you happen to be here. I mean, obviously you was born in Nashville, Tennessee kids. I'm obviously, we talked before, from Cleveland, but you know, even if with you coming here and, you know, growing up and, you know, playing music here, and you're actually making a sort of turning this into a full-time gig. Did you always feel like that was possible, or did you feel like maybe I need to, you know, I know some people that could sort of be on the halfway end, to where like, let me get something stable so I can use that to sort of. What do you think about that? Do you feel like, hey, just you should go all the way in?
So I kind of did the opposite. I mentioned I played football. I was a long snapper, and that's what I played, linebacker and other stuff. But I'm not that big of a guy, and the goal was always get great grades and get a scholarship to play college football, so my parents didn't have to pay for my college. That was like what I wanted and what I was told I wanted. I did want it, but it was like, you're going to do this and you're going to do this. And I was like, all right, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I don't want you to have to, you know, pay a bunch of money. I don't want to take out student loans, so let's try to get a scholarship. Best chance of me getting a scholarship was getting really good at long snapping, because it's unique position that has a very specific skill set, and if you're very good at it, you can get much further than, how many amazing linebackers, how many amazing wide receivers, how many amazing running backs are there, but how many really amazing long snappers are there? So that's kind of where I went. And kickers too. There are more, I'd say, more trained, incredible kickers than long snappers, because it's the least glorious position. Nobody knows who you are until you completely screw up. That's what my coach, my long snapping coach, always said. Like, you'll know you did really, really well if your name is never mentioned in any articles, because they usually only mention the long snapper when you snap the ball over the punter's head and they pick it up and score and you lose the game.
Yeah.
So I went that route. I was playing in high school. I got offered to Air Force, which I didn't want to do. And then I was talking to San Diego State, which was like where I really wanted to go. And they ended up going with this other guy who was 2 inches taller than me and about 5 times better than me at snapping. And he's my buddy, because all the snappers around the country, we all go to these camps together. Yeah. There's one guy, Chris Rubio. Shout out to Chris Rubio. Best coach I ever had. And he only taught long snapping. He did teach life as well. Yeah. There was a lot of life lessons and character building and camaraderie in his camps. But all these kids from Georgia and Florida and Texas and California and Oregon, we'd all go to his camps together. So I think there's at least 5 or 6 long snappers in the NFL right now that are starting, that are from my class that I know personally. And a couple of them I'm actually like buddies with. Yeah. My buddy Tabor Pepper got signed to the 49ers this year.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah. So I'm super stoked for him. He's had a journey too, man. Like, these guys, they'll get signed for a few games and they'll get cut. And if they mess up once, they get cut, but then they're free agents and they can give up, or they can keep lifting and working and go to the camps and go to the things with the team. And then he stayed at it, and now he's on the 49ers. So I'm super stoked for him. But the Rubio camps were huge, and I ended up getting recruited to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, which is a D1 AA school. So it's not D2, but it's definitely not D1. We did play one D1 team, but it's D1 AA. Yeah. Lower budget, smaller school, still good athletes. But I was going to Cal Poly, and when I got there, so I got my good GPA. I got the preferred walk-on, which means if you do well your first year, we'll scholarship you the next year. Yeah. Maybe not full scholarship, maybe 50%. And then if you do really well, by the time I was a senior, the goal was to be on 100% scholarship. Yeah. So I did it. I did what I was supposed to do. I got good grades and I got recruited. In Cal Poly, I had like a 3.89 GPA in high school, which is pretty good. I would not have gotten into Cal Poly without football. Their average is like 4.2, 4.3, 4.4 GPAs. Like, these kids are, engineering majors, aerospace, pre-med, and then agriculture is like a big thing out there too. But I was a psychology major, so it made no sense. They have a good they're a great school. But so I was going to Cal Poly, and I got there a month and a half before school started for football camp, and I realized on the drive up there, wait, I don't want to play college football. I just wanted to get into college through football. I don't want to do this. And it's like, the camp was like 6 days a week, like 12, 13, 14 hour, like crazy. You wake up in the morning, you go to camp, you have 3 meals with the team, and you go back home at night. And this was like a month before anybody even got there, like anybody else. It was just the athletes. Bro, I cried almost every day. I called my mom, I don't want to do this. I called my coach Rubio, I don't want to do it. And they're like, look, dude, you made a commitment. You're going to play the season. Like, you're not getting out of it. Play the season. And if you don't want to play after, then you don't have to play next year. So I went through the season playing and I had a bad attitude, but the team wasn't. I played on a lot of football teams. It was like I didn't click with very many people on that team. Yeah. And it's different in college, like high school teams, people are like really competing out there. It's not as much of a like, oh, we're all brothers and we have math class together. It's like you got dudes that are like 22, 23 years old and I'm like 18, freshly 18. They're like grown men to me. And they're big too. Like, they're big old 6'4" linemen, and I'm the freshman. And since I was a long snapper, I was the starting long snapper, but I was the only freshman that traveled. So when we would go on the road to play games, I was the only freshman. So you can imagine a group of like 30 dudes and there's one freshman, how that's going to go. Like, and I have never been like good at taking shizzle from people. I'm trying not to cuss. I'm sorry. I cuss a lot. I'm not good at that. And I'm not very good with like authority, which is why my job is another benefit is I don't have a boss. Yeah. it was looking like we were going to make the playoffs, and I didn't expect it. And I told my coach, I was like, yo, I am going home Thanksgiving week, whether we make the playoffs or not. And he's like, well, not if we have practice. Like, you're going to be here for practice. And I said, no, you don't understand. I'm an only child. I haven't seen my family. I didn't even want to play this season. I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I'm a long snapper. I do the same thing every play. And this is the head coach of this team. And he's just like, all right, dude, like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, whatever. So the week before, it was week 10. I woke up on Monday for practice at like 4:45. We had early practice before. And I put all my stuff on. This is Central Coast, California in November and almost December. And I'm like walking out of my dorms, and this gust of wind just stops me in my tracks. It just dropped like 15 degrees when this gust came. And I said, screw this. I'm going back to bed. So I went back to bed, did it the next day. I said, hey, I'm not feeling good. I'm not coming in again. They go, why don't you just leave your stuff in the locker room? Like, you don't have to play anymore. We're tired of trying to I didn't handle it the best, but I was like miserable on the team. So and everyone around me was like, you're nuts. Like, why would you not want to play college football? Like, you get a scholarship, you could blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. So I kind of quit, but technically it's like they fired me. So I would have gotten like a severance package kind of a thing. They were just like, just go, bro. Like, we don't want to deal with you anymore. And then they made the playoffs, and in the semifinals, they lost by 2 points, and the backup snapper snapped the ball over the punter's head, and they got a safety. Safety is worth 2 points. So the entire team now, who blamed me just treated me like garbage, like thought I was useless, blamed me for losing the season because I left the team. I'm like, man, maybe if you guys showed some appreciation while I was there for my position and what I do, I would have stayed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I wasn't playing football anymore. I was just going to school. I'm writing raps. I was kind of like in high school. I was just write freestyle. I was good at freestyling.
Yeah.
And but I started writing, and my mom was like, well, you quit football. Like, if rapping is something you want to do, like, you got to put the work in. So I saw this thing. There's a showcase in LA. And if you want to come down next weekend, like, we'll get you signed up and you can perform in front of these A&Rs. So it was like a, what is it called? When they have a bunch of people, a showcase. Yeah. A bunch of people come in. There's probably like 30 people that came in. We each got like 7 minutes. So I did 2 or 3 songs, and an A&R from Atlantic Records was there named Sean, and Sean pulled me aside after and said, hey, I like what you did. Like, why don't we meet? Met with Sean in his office, played him guitar and sang a little bit. He's like, cool, I see a lot of potential in you. He signed me to a 360 deal, which is a development deal. So not a record deal. I don't get this big bonus or anything. It's an entity that's not really a major label saying, we see potential in you. We're going to give you studio time and hook you up with producers, help you find your sound. And once we develop you, we'll pitch you to a label and hopefully get you signed. And he worked for Atlantic, so the goal was to get me signed to Atlantic. And then they get a big cut of everything, merchandise, touring, the bonus, like everything. And those are messed up, those 360 deals, because like what an artist usually doesn't know or isn't told is when you get a bonus, like let's say it's $3 million, it's a big bonus. You get $3 million up front. That means you owe the record label $3 million before you make a penny. Yeah. And a lot of these artists will just blow that $3 million and then their record will flop. So they will make maybe $150,000 in their first like week of record sales, maybe. So they're like, wait a minute, you owe us now $2,750,000 or whatever. I'm not a math guy. Yeah. You owe us a lot of money. And you spent all that money. So where are we going to get that money? So that's when people get screwed and locked in. Anyways, they pitched me to Atlantic. Atlantic didn't want me. Thank God, because I wasn't ready. They're like, he's not ready. Yeah. Young Jeezy was one of the executives at Atlantic Records at the time. So I'm sitting there playing guitar and singing in front of Young Jeezy, which was super weird, but cool. And then I got into this kind of hippie phase and started taking a lot of mushrooms and a lot of acid, and didn't really want to listen to those guys at Atlantic very much. I'm like, you're the man. Like, I don't want to listen to the man. I want to make music about fighting the man. And like, I want to make music promoting the benefits of psychedelics. So I made a whole project, and they're shaking their heads going, all right, same thing. Like, I didn't want to listen to them. They're like, all right, bro, like, we're telling you what's going to get you to this place. But if you want to go do some weird abstract stuff and like think it's going to work, like you think you're Chance the Rapper, like go ahead, bro. So I did, and they pretty much same thing as my football coach. They're just like, dude, we're over it. So they stopped booking me for recording sessions, and they stopped doing this, and I messed that deal up. I was young. I was really young, and nobody explained anything to me. When I signed that contract, I did not know what I was signing.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know who I was yet. Like when they found me, I was a malleable ball of clay that had potential that they could shape into something that's sellable. And then I found my own passion, which was, and the thing about my family and everyone, time is short and life is temporary, and you got to appreciate. I got a lot of those positive messages from my psychedelic experiences, quite frankly. My mom knew I was doing it. Like I was very upfront about it, and it made me a better person in a lot of ways. But there's also kind of a trap in that where you think you know everything and you think you're more enlightened than everyone else. Like it's a dangerous trap that a lot of that community kind of gets stuck in from time to time.
Yeah.
I definitely got stuck in it. So I ruined my relationship with the A&R and got to a point where I was just like trying to come in and do stuff, and they were just like not down. But I mean, I was recording in Atlantic studios. I was meeting amazing artists that I looked up to. Like I was driving to LA one day, and this guy signed Ty Dolla $ign to Atlantic. So he's the A&R that discovered and signed Ty Dolla $ign. So I'm driving up, and one of them calls me, and they're like, hey, your session's canceled. Ty needs to record some stuff for Coachella. And I was like, okay, well, I'm about 10 minutes away, and I live in San Diego. So I'm like in LA. Like, can I at least come by the studio and just hang out? They're like, he's like, yeah, I don't care. Call Sean. So I called Sean. He's like, I don't care. Call the other one. And I was like, I'm just going to go. Like I'm just going to show up. And what's the worst that can happen, right? Okay. So I show up, and there he is. Like Ty Dolla $ign just sitting in the room, like the first room when you walk in. And I go in, and I'm like, hey, is so-and-so here? And he's like, nah, he left. And I was like, you mean he like left? Like he's gone, or is he like coming back? And he goes, who are you? And I was like, oh, I went by Wes at the time because my real name's Wesley. I was like, oh, I'm Wes. He goes, oh, Sean's artist. Yeah. He played me some stuff. It's cool. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. Like he didn't mean it. He wasn't like, oh, you're amazing. Yeah. He was just like, oh yeah, no, I heard your stuff. And I was like, they were smoking. I was like, do you mind if I sit and like smoke with you guys? And like, nah, cool. So I sat at the table and smoked with Ty and his friend and talked about Coachella. It was like super cool. But that was like one of the last sessions that I like went up there for.
Yeah.
They just stopped calling me. So in my head, there's a whole chapter of my hippie phase that I will skip over because I've talked about on other podcasts and it's just unnecessary. But I was just doing I was just crazy. I was just taking a lot of it and not really doing anything for my life. Just like thinking I was getting these insights and that I was going to change the world with my newfound mentality that nobody discovered in the 60s already, by the way. Like there wasn't an entire movement of millions of people that found the same answers, and that went really well, by the way. It didn't end too well. So I was just kind of arrogant and stupid, and I was like, well, I'm in this deal. They don't want to. I was in a 5-album deal with them, so 5 albums. I hadn't even released a single. So I still owed them 5 albums. I'd put out 2 mixtapes, which is not an album. Yeah, they were free. That was just for fun kind of thing. Which is in there. I didn't understand money at the time. Like they're paying for those studio sessions for my free mixtape. That's gonna make them no money back. Yeah, stupid. So I'm like, well, I'm on the shelf. I'm in a 5-album deal. If I want to make music, I better learn something else. So I learned audio engineering. I was like, I'm going to learn how to audio engineer. So I went to a school and I had a mentor, went through 3 mentors. And my third one, I actually met from that situation at Atlantic before. Like I knew this guy, but he's a mentor at this school program. So I was like, oh, great. Like you can be my mentor. But we were already kind of friends. And so he took me under his wing. We finished the program together. He is Too Short's head engineer.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, at the end of it, he's like, hey, man, like, we need an intern. So if you want to like take out the trash and get food and not really talk, you can do that for free if you want. And I was like, cool. I'll work at Too Short Studio. So I did that for a year. Drive to downtown LA, just literally me, my mentor, and Too Short and his large family of friends that are always there with him, whether they're artists or producers or his cousins. There's just a big group of people. They're all from the Bay Area. I was the only guy in there that was not from the Bay Area. So I learned a lot. First thing I learned was how to roll a backwood blunt. Second thing I learned was how to play pool. Too Short is the best pool player I've ever seen in person by far. But I was doing more smoking and playing pool than anything musical there. So after about a year, I was like, okay, I should probably see if I can get into another situation. Ended up at Dark Child Studio through the program, I reached out and I said, hey, is there anybody looking for an intern? I want to kind of switch up where I'm at. They hooked me up with Darkchild. Darkchild's head engineer, actually, because when you're an intern, you don't really talk to I don't know if you know Rodney Jerkins or Darkchild.
I've heard Darkchild.
He did Say My Name by Destiny's Child, As Long As You Love Me by Justin Bieber. The guy is like, he worked with Michael Jackson when he was 16. Like, so he's been around for a long time. So I didn't really talk to him too much, but his head engineer brought me in. The assistant engineer ended up taking the head engineer's spot because the head engineer was bringing me in so he could leave, which I didn't know. I was sad about. Mm-hmm. But I met all these producers. And at the time, I had served at so during the Too Short thing, I did work. I was serving food at Seafire Grill in Carlsbad, and then I ended up at Joe's Crab Shack in Oceanside Harbor. Yeah. So I was there for that whole time when I was working at Too Short. So I'd go up to Too Shorts for a few days, and then I'd come back and like serve food, and then just go back and forth. So I had money to eat up there, and then I would come back and work, and then do that. I do that Monday through Saturday, and either Saturday night or Sunday morning, I drive down to Carlsbad and we play at Seafire on the patios. And we did the Sunday brunch thing there for a long time, and that started because I didn't have money and I was working for free. And I kind of begged them. I was like, "Hey, can you give us a shot? Can we do like a brunch thing? Because Sunday's the only day I have off, and I need money for the week." And they're like, "We'll give it a shot." Ended up being great. So I was working 1 day a week with Wayne for that whole. I was there probably 8 months at Rodney's. Yeah, maybe 6 to 8 months, And then I just wasn't doing well, man. Wasn't getting enough sleep. I was staying on in my grandma's living room on a cot. And she lived it was in Calabasas. So she lived like near Thousand Oaks. So it was about 20, 25 minutes away. So I drive, we get off at 2. I drive back to her place. By the time I got there, it was like 2:45. I'd go to bed at maybe 3:15, 3:30 if I was able to fall asleep. And then, it's her living room. So grandma comes out at 7 in the morning. Dogs barking. So I get 3-4 hours of sleep 6 days a week, and I don't do well with that. Yeah. Started going literally insane, just not okay mentally, not getting enough sleep. I was just delirious all the time. So I left there and moved back to San Diego, and that's when we started playing. Okay. And I was like, I don't want to surf. I didn't have a great experience at Joe's. I'm not going to lie. I'm not hating on anybody. I didn't love it too much. I don't do well with authority. My managers, for the most part, didn't like me very much. And the staff was hit or miss with me. But I wasn't doing what I loved, and I wasn't a very amicable person all the time. So I was kind of a dick for a long time. Like I really was. Like looking back, I probably wouldn't have liked me either. So I'm not blaming anybody. It's just the facts. And then I was like, I don't want to do that again. Let's play more gigs. Yeah. So then we started playing the Roxy and Encinitas here and there. And then we started playing La Papagayo. And then it got to we were playing 3 days a week, and that was cool. And then it just built and built and built. So to answer your original question was, did you think that this was going to be something you do full time? Never. No, I never intended it to be. I wanted to be a rapper, and I wanted to be, an engineer, and I wanted to be a songwriter, which I still want to do. Yeah. Producer. And this was just how I was going to make money to get there. That's why it happened so organically, though, is because that's why I don't promote. I'm barely on our Instagram. I barely post. People are like, well, you guys need exposure. You guys need to do, and I'm like, I'm not trying to get exposure. Everything that's happened right now, and we have a pretty good thing going. We're very fortunate in a pandemic to have worked 10 out of the last 11 days at different places. Mm-hmm. We have a great thing. I'm very thankful for it, but it happened completely organically without trying. We did not try. We weren't going around hey, can we play it? We literally had our places we play, and somebody would hear about us. And then Papagayo was like, hey, we heard your band was good. Do you guys want to play here? And sure. And then the word started spreading, and restaurants were reaching out to us saying hey, we'd love to have you come play. Yeah. So it's good and bad because we just did what we did, and it organically grew into a thing to where now I'm tired from working the last 10 days. I got tired from playing music too much. That's rare. You play a couple hours, you go home, you're fine. But it's been a long, week and a half in the best way. We played a lot of shows, and it was super fun.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's been a lot of people that, even from my hometown in Cleveland. I mean, there's just a load of talented artists, creators, musicians. But just having that environment or having those opportunities to sort of make it and even being able to do something like you're doing full time as a musician. I mean, and I know even out here, I mean the musical community just with bands and artists is, I mean, real diverse, And so even with you being able to, do this as a full-time gig it's pretty pretty amazing. And I don't know. I think I do. I think you just proved a really great point too. Is that sometimes the best way to get from point A to point B is not really sort of figuring out what that destination is, and sort of allowing things to happen. And I think you're a great example, even from your story. It's one of those where you find yourself. I think when you put yourself in positions, you figure out real quick what you don't want. And I think with you going through and playing football and doing all these different things to where really great opportunities for maybe somebody else, but for you is you figured out what you didn't want and what what you're looking for. And I think you sort of figured it out. And it's sometimes it could be rough, and sometimes that can be really regretful for a lot of people that doesn't figure they don't figure it out, or they get to the end of the ropes and be like, I should have took this chance on this, or I should have just went out and did this, regardless of what other people may feel like. Because you was in a great situation. Like, why? Like,
bro.
You got a college scholarship. Like, what are you doing?
I have pissed away at least 5 really good situations.
Yeah,
including like I got a golden ticket on American Idol. Didn't want to audition. Casting producer saw a video and was like, "Hey, why don't you audition? Because they get paid to find people."
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'll audition. I'm not gonna make it anyway, so whatever. I get the golden ticket. So now I'm like, oh wait, I didn't think this was gonna happen. Okay, let me read the contract. 5 sentences into the contract, I was like, capital this, dude. Like, this is horrible for me.
Yeah.
There's some people that it's great for. I totally respect. If that's, first of all, I don't even like Hollywood. I don't like the way it works. I don't like the amount of gatekeepers there are.
Oh yes.
And the fact that raw talent is kind of drowned out by just manufactured sounds, and the public is very easily swayed, and trends are very easily put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that music too. I do. There's very trendy, cool stuff, and like especially in hip hop, like that's not. I'm not the person to say what hip hop should or shouldn't be, but for me personally, like it's kind of a bummer to see how it started. Hip hop started as such a uplifting and like knowledge based. There's a lot of different brands of it, even like the 90s dope dealing hip hop was different because it was a lot of it was so profound, even just in the lyricism or the rhyme scheme.
Yep.
And I feel like now it's like no, not everybody could be a Jay-Z. And when he started, not everybody could be a Talib Kweli or a Mos Def.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like everybody could be a rapper now, but I feel like and I'm not hating, I'm just using an example of someone I feel like Lil Pump. Anybody can go Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Spent 10 racks on a new chain. My girl love doing cocaine. Like it's not the same as like
completely different.
And there is still amazing hip hop that's being put out. Don't get me wrong. But what I don't like is it's not anybody's fault but the consumer, and it's not even their fault. It's not a fault. It's not a fault, but it's just the reality is the consumer. Most people are going through their own tough stuff. They're stressed out. They're anxious. They're depressed, whatever. And when they put on music, most of the time they want to listen to something that makes them feel good and head bob and forget about that stuff.
Yeah.
Not that reminds them how messed up and rigged the system is. And like, because that's the stuff that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
But doesn't necessarily need to be heard all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a weird conundrum because I don't make music that's trendy.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole, I've talked about this before too, but like the whole, like the public is your judge, jury, and executioner. All eyes are on you at all times. If you say an opinion or a word that a certain group like doesn't necessarily agree with, there's no conversation. You are done. I think it's a very limiting, and there's some really great people that have like messed up here or there, or not even messed up, but like done something that maybe they didn't need to do, or maybe they didn't need to say.
Yeah.
Maybe they tweeted something like Kevin Hart is a great example.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart tweeted something along the lines of, it was a joke that he had written.
Yeah.
He said if he had a gay son, he would smash a dollhouse over his head so he would associate negative things with dollhouses.
Yeah.
And he was up to host the Oscars. And Kevin Hart is a hardworking dude. I watched his documentary. I'm a fan of Kevin Hart. He's always in the gym. He's always bettering himself. He also had some other things, but that's his relationship business. That's none of the public's business. If what he does and with his wife, that situation, if he cheats, like that's between them. I don't care about that. But he probably shouldn't have tweeted that. But like it was different then than it is right now. Yeah. And it was then, and he's, people adapt with the times just like the times adapt. But the fact that he got hosting the Oscars ripped out of his hands because of a dumb thing that he tweeted 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, dude, so like, yeah, maybe I could have like a really great, but social media came about when I was in middle school and high school. I said the dumbest things in my life in middle school and high school. I guarantee there's some Facebook post or some tweet or something that's out there that could get me in trouble from what I said when I was 14 years old. And I don't think the same way I did when I was 14. I don't even think the same as I did when I was 22.
Yeah.
So I'm 26 now. I think I'm a completely different person than I was 3 or 4 years ago. My thought processes, my everything is just different. So like the whole idea of like really, the main thing that'd be great is making a lot of money. Everyone wants to make money. I think most people do, unless they're like completely with nature, which is rad too. But like having money in this society gives you freedom, the freedom to do what you want. So yeah, you can make a lot of money making music, and that's an upside. But well, if you're independent, then yes. If you're signed to a label, like I said, you get your bonus. Well, you're gonna have to recuperate that to the label, and then you're gonna have to pay for this and pay for that. And it's like the money that you can make as an artist is actually not even. I mean, I just saw who's the San Diego Padre. Do you watch baseball? I don't.
I'm not a big baseball fan.
There's one of the younger guys on the Padres just signed another deal for, I think it was like a few $100 million for like a 5-year contract or something like that. And I'm just going like, no rapper's making that kind of money unless they are Jay-Z and they have like a record label and a champagne and Douce and their wife's Beyonce and like that's insane. So, and that's unnecessary amounts of money.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just saying like the whole industry just is a turnoff to me, and that's why I didn't want to do American Idol. And I'm happy that certain things didn't work out when I was young and I didn't understand what a contract was and like what certain terminology meant. And so here I am like, okay, I want to do music. I don't want to have a boss. I want to be successful. But the industry that I'm in, like, I don't want to be too successful because I don't want to have to deal with all that stuff that comes with being super successful, because you kind of like in the eye of the public, like they kind of own you in a certain way. Like they're responsible for your success. Like they're buying your records, they're paying for your concert tickets, they're kind of employing you. It's like a cop. Like a cop is technically a public servant. Like our taxes are paying for policemen and firefighters. So in a way we're their employers in an indirect way. Yeah. That's kind of how I see like the public and the consumer with artists. And if you do something that pisses off the consumer, then you're done. I piss people off all the time. I'm very good at it. I'm very, very good at pissing people off. So I don't know, bro. It's just like, it all just seems like, ugh. Like I'd rather just chill, bro. I'd rather just like, make my money, invest it well, get some real estate, have some passive income, slowly build up. If anything organic happens, yes. The other thing is songwriting. If you can write a hit song and it goes to, let's say I write a hit song for Post Malone and it goes #1. There's a lot of royalties for that. Yep. Your name's not necessarily, I mean, like, yeah, people can look up who wrote the song, but it's like, you're not touching it. Your face isn't out there. Yeah. That's ideal. Yeah. I would love to just be private, live my life, write some hit songs, be involved with music, get some money, get a house in Northern California, have a house down here, rent out a couple properties, and just chill until I die.
I like that.
That's it.
What is a creative tip or tips that you could provide our audience?
Like I said, you guys tell me. I don't have any.
You're going to be the first one, the first guest not to have a creative tip.
I'm lazy, bro. Like, I'm very unproductive. So, like, I guess my creative tip to myself would be, like, I'm the most creative when I feel good about myself mentally and physically.
I like that.
So if you want to get more creative, I'm talking to me. If I want to get more creative, I should probably get up a little bit earlier, do some meditation, stretch, work out, get the weight off I want to get off, eat right, feel good in my body. Because when all that's going well, the creativity just happens.
Yep. Hey, I talk to myself all the time. That's a great tip.
But if you got them, like I said, if you got some actual ones for me, let me know because I need it. I need it really bad.
Well, everybody's probably listening to you like, hey, I need to do that. I need to get up and get up a little bit earlier and work out and feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Hey.
I feel like most of us, at least from time to time go through that phase of not handling business.
Yep. That is the truth.
Yeah.
Well, we already talked about your ideal creative life. If obviously money wasn't an issue, just ideal creative life, what would you be doing? No, what's the ideal, day for you? What would that consist of?
It's a tough question. If I had a better metabolism, it would involve a lot of cooking. I love cooking. I love making food too. I recently went on a smash burger tear where I learned how to make like real legit smash burgers.
Yeah.
Thin patty, crispy, very few toppings, just a nice little sauce, some grilled onions, raw onions, and cheese.
That sounds good.
Oh my God, they're so good. I'll show you the pictures. Spending time with, okay. Eventually all my friends are probably going to get married. I don't know if I'm going to get married. I don't know how I feel about marriage. But all my friends are probably gonna have wives and stuff, so it won't be the same. But like, I love, like right now, my ideal day is I wake up, drink my cup of coffee, go to my buddy's house, play some pool, work out, eat some good food, maybe play a gig, and see my dogs. Dogs are a key part of my good days. So
awesome.
I don't know, bro. Like I just simple stuff.
Yep.
If I had a lot of money, I'd probably just buy higher quality steak with it. Some Japanese A5 Wagyu more often.
Going into projects, is there any kind of upcoming projects or anything that you're brewing on? I know you tend to sort of keep everything close to the chest, but I didn't know if there's anything that you've got sort of stirring around right now. Nothing. It's so sad. I got nothing for you. I'm not working on anything. We do covers, so yeah.
I am working on like how to write a song.
Yeah.
I've written a bunch of songs over beats, and I know that technique.
Yeah.
Involving auto-tune and freestyling melodies and then writing words after. As far as picking up a guitar and writing a chord progression and finding melodies, I'm trash. Yeah. So right now I'm trash, but I'm working on it. Eventually I'd like to be able to give you guys some kind of original set at the show with me and Wayne, and then like maybe an EP that I can record and mix myself based on my experience with that.
That'd be cool.
But I'm really just trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with, if I'm cool with like small time cover, like if that's going to be my thing and just do stuff like that. Or, if music's even going to be my thing, I'm in that place right now where I'm like, I really love what I do. We have a great thing going. Wayne's 70. He may get over it tomorrow. Like if Wayne just said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, man. I'm retired. We're working too much. Then I'm screwed. Because that's all I know is, playing music with Wayne in our set list. So I'd either have to find another guitar player and teach him the whole set list, and he's not going to be even nearly, not only as talented as Wayne, he may, but the connection that Wayne and I have is like very unique. It's scary, man. I'm in a scary time, and that's part of the thing. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta figure that out.
Well, no, you from listening to your story, you've put yourself in weird little situations for it to all sort of come out right. It's like it's sort of chaotic. So it's like chaos, but when you look at it from another vantage, it's actually everything that, everything's sort of lining up.
Task failed successfully.
Yeah. You've sort of figured out how to get to point A to point B. So that I'm not going to worry about you. You're already talented enough to get where you need to go.
Thank you.
So I know you're not on social media a lot, but how can people like reach out to you? Maybe if they're saying, "Hey, look, I want to get Swingin' Johnson's on a new gig," or
So there's there's a couple bands that use that name as well, and I think they're like on the East Coast. But if you go to www.facebook.com/the4, as in the number, the 4 Swingin', no G, the 4 Swingin' Johnsons. So it's www.facebook.com/the4 Swingin' Johnsons. That's going to be our page for the Swingin' Johnsons. We also have an Instagram at SWINGINJOHNSONS, one word. at Swingin' Johnsons, no G again on that end of that swingin'. And yeah, that's our social media. So if you want to reach out and say what's up, or if you have any questions or advice, I would greatly appreciate advice. Yeah, hit us up.
I need to bring you into my gym. So we'll get a little workout in. We got boxing and everything, so
awesome.
I'll get you in there. Hey, once again, if you've been tuned in, thank you, live stream audience. Thank you for watching this. This will be on the podcast here soon in podcast form and as well as in video. So I'll share this out. But yeah, it's been great talking with Sodie. Would definitely love to bring in Wayne one day. But definitely want to bring you back in for another episode. And like I said, I know I'll be catching, me and my wife will be catching some of your gigs. So I know we're always going between Orfillo and Coomber. We're always trying to see when Swingin' Johnsons are in, and it's like let's go check them out. So, yeah. But once again, hey, thank you. Grateful for you to come in and sort of share your story. You, for some odd reason, you sort of figured out ways, that obviously you didn't want a boss, and I think you had to go through certain things to sort of figure that out. And I think for anyone that's listening, especially for my cradles, especially for all my artists, musicians, everybody that's they're trying to get their music going, or they're trying to get their art career going, put yourself in positions that you can't stand, and you will figure out real quick what you don't want in life. And once you figure that out, you'll put forth all the effort to get away from that situation and put yourself in a better position. So obviously Sodie did it his own way, and like I said, he's doing what he loves, and I think that's for anyone. Just do what you love. I'm saying you'll have a happy life. So once again, thank you, Sodie. Thank you with Cobo Pod. Thank you for all my sponsors, panels. Elevate Coffee, Astropad. Once again, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Dave and Peyton. Dave has this beautiful artwork. If you ever see the video and you see the backdrop, Dave painted all these paintings, beautiful artwork. Like I said, I always put a little shout out for him. Dreamwave Studio, that's here in Oceanside, California. Check them out if you're wanting artwork for your building, for your studio, anything like that. Beautiful paintings, and I think they're great assets to any kind of just to decorate your walls. But check them out. Just want to give a shout out to him. He's also the sound coach. And to Peyton, like I said, I use a lot of his photos for a lot of my social media content and branding. Beautiful photographer, so check him out. He's got his prints, and he's always got his photography that he's doing, so you can check him out too. And I'll put both of their information in my show notes. But other than that, hey, thank you, Sodie, and this has been another awesome episode.
Thank you for having me so much. I appreciate it. And I wanted to mention that this studio is awesome. The guys are awesome. I was very impressed with the whole setup. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, thank you, gentlemen, for what you do, and thank you for having me. It was a very fun episode.
Oh, appreciate it. And hey, this has been another episode of The Creative Brew. Be creative, stay inspired.